The day after he said goodbye, all you did was lay in bed and cry. The first week, your friends could not get you out of your room. It was 1 year, you told yourself, and it was great. But it was over now. You couldn't look at cherries the same, couldn't listen to your favorite songs without thinking about all the moments you'd shared with him. In the rain, at night, cuddling under thick blankets. That summer, you'd watched the fireworks together. That winter, you'd spent many nights in his bed on top of his chest. You threw out all the spices he gave you as a gift. You threw out every single sweater, every cardigan, and every tiny piece of jewelry he ever gave you. You were obsessed with rings, and you hated to because you wore them every day. Not because he gave them to you, because they went with your aesthetic. You hated it, but you hated him more, so out they went. 3 months later, you were doing fine. You had pulled your life together once more. You still worked at the same restaurant, but you threw yourself into everything you could to forget. Your friends eventually stopped asking you about it because your answer never changed. And soon, the fact that you two ever dated was history. No one in your class ever brought it up again. And then, 2 other months had passed. You were doing perfectly well for someone who was so attached to the careful and familiar. "Hey," you waved at FN. "Hi?" they asked in a skeptical tone. "What?" you asked, jogging in place. A hard smile was edged onto your lips, as if you were forcing it, which you were, but only because something unexpected happened this morning. "Why are you here so early? Why are you here so early?" You fired back. I have practice, like I do every Wednesday." "Right, well, I better be off." You jogged past them, running into your school. You were met with the lockers and quickly switched your shoes. You raced all the way down to your classroom, 2B, set your bag down, then ran all the way to the bathroom. You, as swiftly and calmly as you could, fixed your hair, tried to stop the sweat from coming down your armpits, wiped your sweaty palms on a paper towel, and beat your forehead until it was only a little red. You didn't want to make it seem like you had rushed here, even though you totally did. Today, you had got a message from Gakushu. Never mind how he had got your number, he had texted you. You, out of everyone he knows and probably trusts way more, he texted you for help. You didn't want to admit it, but it kind of felt good being needed again. Granted, he wanted to keep it a secret, but you were fine with that. "Asano?" you called, reaching Class 2A's room on the 3rd level. The Class A students all had their own floor, and 2 each, but there were only 3 classes on the entire floor, so it was pretty secure. No one would be here this early in the morning. It was 6 a.m. Well, no one other than Asano Gakushu. He was the one who requested you be here. You were asleep, cozy, planning to wake up at 6:30. However, around 4:45, you got a message from the principal's son. The message had read, "Dear Ryan Ellen, this is Gakushu Asano. We don't know each other personally, but I would like to request a favor. Please meet me in the 2A classroom on the 3rd floor at 6 a.m. today. If you show up, I will thank you in person. I would also like to keep this between us, if you don't mind. Your student body president, Gakushu Asano." He wrote it so formally, you would think this were the 1800s, or he'd never learned how to text properly. Asano has always been quite distant, but at least he never looked down upon you. You've never really thought about it, but you never expected him to text like this, or to text you at all. Maybe it would have been easier to send a paper letter instead of a text from him. But there was no way you could say no, not that you would want to. You've never interacted with Asano. though that didn't mean you weren't curious about him. You knocked slightly on the Class 2A door and waited for a response from the other side. You heard muted footsteps that then all became clear when the door slid open. Gakushu Asano hovered above you a good 4 inches. You didn't smile, and neither did he. You came, he said, not in a tone that would lead you to believe he was expecting you, but rather that he was not. That's absurd, though. How could you honestly say no to your school president, who could probably get you expelled if he just so pleased, and tarnish your rep for any high schools and colleges that might ever consider you? But, on top of that, you wanted to help him. Yep, you said you needed help. You prodded, trying to get him to the point. As much as you were thrilled to be of help to him, in this room, alone, made you uncomfortable, and for a lack of better words, queasy. Yes, that's correct. He turns on his heels and walks toward the front of the room, as you had walked through the back door. I recognize you are excellent in poster making, he states. You move your feet to follow him. Yeah, it's a great hobby, you say, not quite understanding why this is important. Perfect. I need you to create a poster for me. Okay, you drag out. But why not just ask one of the art students for help? You remember in my message? He begins moving around a bunch of different papers with scribbles on them in different shades of marker. I said I wanted this to be a secret. Yeah, you said something of the sort. Well, that means I very well can't just ask anyone for help, can I? Yeah, I guess so, but why me? Asano stopped moving the papers around. He moved into a chair during your conversation, but you still stood. He slowly turned his body, one hand on the desk and one on top of the chair. One leg was bent on top of the other in a half crisscross. His smile was otherworldly. Because you dated Akabane. Your heart stopped beating. It dropped to the floor, and it took you a second to pick it back up and fix it in place. So, your voice was shaking now, but you couldn't control it. So, you're the perfect person to help me with this message. Asano continued where he left off with the papers. What? You bit out. Asano, what do you genuinely want from me? He sighed. Fine. The truth is, the second-year student council has been placed with the job of creating posters for each of the classes, which in my opinion is stupid. Each class should make their own, but who am I to contradict my father, right? At that, his smile was icy, and you couldn't help but wonder if there was more to his words than what he was saying out loud. So, what's my part in all of this? Asano's smile changed again, this time to an amused grin. I volunteered to make Class 2E's poster, but I want to include a little message for our dear friend Akabane. We're not friends, you stated, your voice now harsh and unforgiving. Whoa. Asano put his hands up. Some breakup that must have been. What happened? None of your business. Just hurry up and tell me what you want. You were beginning to care less and less that this was your school president. Another shaky sigh from Asano. Tell me a secret. You dated him for a year, you must know something worthwhile. You crossed your arms and rolled your eyes. Seriously? You dragged me to school on a Wednesday at 6 in the damn morning for a secret? Asano shrugged. This was unbelievable. How could you have wanted to actually help him? I can't believe you, you said, shaking your head. You began walking out when Asano called. If you help me, I can help you, you know. If you help me, I can help you. Your feet, despite your efforts, stopped. Asano walked over to the door, leaning against it. You didn't turn around. I know you still love him. I never loved him. You barked. Never? Asano's smile dipped, and an eerie aura came upon him. Never is just like forever, isn't it? You shivered. I'm leaving. Why in? He called one last time. You turned your head and eyed him while hugging your arms to your chest. We hide what we fear most about ourselves. It's what makes us human. Then he walked back into the classroom. You had no idea what he was talking about. You don't love karma. You never did. You never. The day ended. You were walking back home, and for some reason you decided to take the long route today. You had stopped taking it when you and Karma broke things off. You only ever started taking it because of Karma in the first place. It was hard to do the things you used to do so easily with him, because the feeling of emptiness was so strong. You swung your bag back and forth, watching the sky turn from baby blue to a sunset orange. The sun was blinding your eyes, so you put your hand up to block it, and in doing so, caught sight of something else. Someone else. Red hair, pale skin, auburn eyes that reminded you of Saturn. What the hell was he doing here? You hadn't seen Karma since the breakup, almost 6 months ago. It was a chaotic one you sometimes wish you could rewind and fix. So many situations you wish you could go back and handle differently. You didn't know if you should call out or stay silent. A boy with blue hair walked beside him, and on the other side, another boy with darker blue hair but shorter than the first followed. The shortest one noticed you staring. He was exactly your height. He whispered something into Karma's ear, and you turned away, red coating your cheeks. Karma and the other boy turned their heads in your direction. You avoided their eyes and stopped walking. Turning around, you decided that maybe stopping in a convenience store was on the list of things to do before you got home today. You began walking in the direction of the nearest one when he called out to you, "Why in?" His voice made so many things right in your world, but then also crushed so many other things. Your heart sank. You had no idea how to respond. You didn't know if you were supposed to be friends or acquaintances or what. You did know, though, that you could not be friends. Not with him. Karma. You mumbled, already feeling the tears prick at your eyes. The breakup was really messy. You were still embarrassed at what you did. "Hey, a long time no see." His voice sounded tight and forced to be lighthearted. You didn't meet his eyes. Damn it, you still missed him. "Yeah," was the only word you managed to say. "How have you been?" How could you respond to that? You felt like breaking down right then and there. You wanted to crawl to him, have him wrap his arms around you and say everything was going to be okay. If only you hadn't seen him again, everything just might have been. You stood your ground. "I've been good." You forced out the last word. "And you?" "Oh yeah, I've been fine. Everything's great." Great? You actually felt it. A crack in your heart. It was a physical pain. "I'm sorry," you whispered. "I have to go." "Go? But..." You walked away before he could finish. He reached out and grabbed your sleeve. "Why in?" The action stopped you in your tracks. "Karma." Your voice spoke with an obvious quiver in it. "Can we just..." He bit his lip and looked away, but he looked pained and hurt. "Can we just walk?" Your frozen form turned all the way around as you forced another smile. "Like we used to?" He let go of your shirt. "Yeah." It was silent for the first few minutes, but Karma broke it. "Hey, you remember that time we found this route?" His attempt at clearing the air was good for a first start. "Yeah?" You nodded with a smile. "That was a long time ago, huh?" He smiled as if he recalled that night. "It was just after we got out of class. I was still in the building then." His head tilted over to you with a small smile that for a first didn't seem fake. You smiled back, finding it a little easier. "Yeah, but you had skipped that day. I wanted to get you chocolate since it was St. Heart's Day, and I told you you could have gotten it for me on the way home, or..." You rolled your eyes and met his. Another first today. Remembered the day before. Amusement trickled into his eyes, and for a quick second you forgot you were just catching up with him. You were so dumb sometimes. You laughed at the memory, then smiled to yourself contently. You remember that night? Of course you did. How could he think you could forget? It was the first night you slept over at Karma's house. It was also the first night he told you he loved you, and you, for your part, said it back. The air around you grew quiet again. As you both thought about that time, you stopped walking. Karma followed you, both with his eyes and his body. Why-in. His voice sounded hard, like he was already in tears. Karma, I can't do this, you said. I can't pretend we're just friends with a rough past, but I still love you. The words were out before you could stop them, your heart beating about 1,000 million miles per second. You could see his chest tighten as he took a step toward you, and you took a step back. I'm sorry, you said. He reached an arm out. It connected with your wrist. He yanked you into himself. You began to sob as your head hit his chest. He petted your head over and over, whispering that it was okay. He held you while you cried. You couldn't thank this chance encounter enough. I'm sorry, was all you could say. That and, I love you. I love you so much. I don't know why I said I never did. I'm a liar. I'm a liar and an idiot. A stupid, stupid idiot. My stupid idiot, he said. I love you too. And just like that night, you went to Karma's house and fell asleep in his arms, not asking why or how, just being grateful for the outcome. Karma, though, had Gakushu to thank.